Okay, just for some fun, I'm gonna run you through a quick recipe for smoked chicken, barbecue chicken, smoked chicken, whatever. But I'll get into some other more difficult stuff later, but this is pretty easy to make. So first thing you need to do is get yourself some leg quarters or something like that, and this rub consists of salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. That's what you're seeing there. Put a little oil on them. And then liberally sprinkle some kosher salt, pepper, paprika, and garlic powder. It's a real basic rub anybody can come up with. Okay, the next important ingredient is bourbon. You've got to have bourbon if you're going to barbecue. That's just a rule. Oh wait, that's just my rule. It doesn't matter. Anyway, what you're going to need is some kind of a cooking chamber, a vessel, like this is a horizontal smoker right there. Got a firebox, as you can see, and a cooking chamber with an external thermometer that doesn't really tell me much because it's broke. But the smoke's going and the fire's building, and what we're going to do is wait for that to reach a temperature that I can't comfortably lay my hand on. Not too much hotter than that, but just kind of like to where you can't hold your hand there more than, say, 5-6 seconds. When that happens, you're going to know that that you've got a hot cooking chamber, hot enough for food. I'm not really concerned about smoke penetration because I mean this is going to be kind of a quick cook, but that smoke's going to get in there. It's going to be a part of it. You know, obviously I'm not going to aim for 400 degrees or 300 degrees. I'm hoping for something like 250. And at 250. Those leg quarters ought to be done in about an hour, hour and a half. And a simple way to test that would be just to kind of, you know, after about an hour, get in there and kind of move the leg quarter a little bit right there at the joint where it meets the thigh. If it moves comfortably, you got a good chance that thing's done. You can also use a thermometer to make sure your temperature's right, but I found that you can, you know, with a little experience, you can tell. Those of you who need a thermometer, go ahead and get one. I don't know what the actual relevant temperature is. I believe it's for leg quarters 175, 180, somewhere in there. You can look it up. But let's take a look at the firebox. Okay, in there you can see that I got some. That's some charcoal briquettes that are 95% hardwood, and I believe 5% vegetable oil as a binder. And the wood itself there is peach wood and oak, and that's what I have on hand, and it's terrific stuff for smoking. But anyway, what you'll want to do is, you know, just more or less position these in such a way that they're not too close to the firebox, kind of midway, like right about here. Midway. Unless you've got a full thing. I'm only doing like, you know, about 6 leg quarters, and so they'll fit in comfortably right about here to the back. Don't crowd your meat, but just kind of lay it out there, give it some space. And any bigger cuts you're going to probably want to put towards the firebox, and the smaller ones a little further away from the firebox, because, you know, one's going to cook a little faster than the other. But after about an hour, you know, if you want to baste it with some sort of a barbecue sauce that you've made or that you've bought, that's fine. I'm probably not going to. I'm going to probably just have some vinegar sauce at the table for anybody who wants to put on it. The real trick is to just kind of have a nice, slow cook, and then at the end maybe throw a little more fuel in there that's lit to kind of bump the temperature up to, say, like 350. And the reason for that would be that you want to kind of, at the very end, bump your temperature up to kind of crisp the skin. That gives it a nice, you know, texture. But otherwise, hour and a half, you got some barbecue, everybody's happy. So, hope somebody can find that useful. Peace. Okay, for this particular little recipe, I'm going to actually use a baste. This I'll include the recipe for. And here you go. Here's the baste, and we're going to open up the box. This is mostly a vinegar base. Get a little on the brush here. This pan is, this liquid has been heated a little bit, so it's not cold. And it's just a matter of kind of mopping it with this vinegary sauce here to kind of give it a nice glaze while it's cooking. Just kind of pat it on. Don't brush it so much because you'll knock off the rub. Just kind of pat it down, and don't leave the door open too long. Just enough to kind of keep it moist, and that'll help it along. Another way you can do this if you don't have a horizontal smoker is if you've got like a kettle grill or something like that. You can set it up for indirect heat, which is kind of the key to smoking something, by having a water pan in the center and building your coals around the water pan, so that the items you're cooking are directly above the water pan and not directly above the coals. So in that way they get indirect heat, and the water pan can help keep the cook chamber at the proper humidity. That's another way to do it. If you don't have a horizontal smoker, you can also do this with a traditional grill, or like kettle grill or something of that sort, like a Weber. At this point, we're just applying just a little baste here. Try not to knock the rub off. Just a little bit to kind of help finish it out, give it a glaze, give it a little surface flavor. And you can see the coals are pretty hot in there, so it's been cooking at a relatively high temperature for smoking something. But I mean, it's kind of intermediate between what you would call grilling and smoking. It's a higher smoke temperature than you would do for a long temperature cut. But you can tell just by kind of picking up one of the joints and kind of moving it that it's getting there. Another 15 minutes and we'll be done. So 15 more minutes and it'll be time to pull it off, and time to let it kind of rest for about 5-10 minutes, and then it's time for dinner. So okay, so after about an hour and a half of cooking, that's what the coals look like. They've pretty well, reached the peak there, and I'm ready to pull these off. And they're looking pretty good. They got a nice crust on them, a nice glaze, the joints moving nicely, and I'm just going to pull these off. So that's what this is going to look like. When you're done, you're going to have a nice smoke ring inside of them. You're going to look for a little bit of pink on the exterior meat. That's going to tell you that you've smoked it. The internal meat's going to be what you would normally expect from chicken, kind of a pale tan colored, or such. And there should be no blood down at the bone, and you can pierce them and check them that way. That's a good way. But anyway, that's basically it. It's just a simple recipe for a barbecue chicken that I like to make, and I'll try to put all the ingredients and like kind of a little recipe down in the below box. So there you go, barbecue chicken.